Today on Ask This Old House.
If you're ready to install your own faucet, I'm going to show you some cool wrenches you might want to know about.
Live edge tables like this are really popular right now, and we'll show you how to build it. This is maple. When I open it up like a book, you can see the grain is a book match. All right, so now we have to attack the live edge. If you leave the bark over time, when it's in the house, the heat from the house is really going to dry the wood out, and this is going to fall off and be really messy.
And in Future House, I'll take you to a community in Texas that promises to bring renewable technology to the masses.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Roger.
Hi, Kevin.
What are you guys up to?
Well, you remember several years ago we went and visited a bonsai expert at his place?
Very cool.
Greenhouse full of plants, some of them 60 years old.
Passing on your bonsai skills, Roger?
There you go.
All right.
I've learned less is more, minimal snips.
Okay, well, you guys do your thing, but we have got ourselves a jam-packed show, and it starts with Ross Trethewey and Future House.
This looks like any suburban neighborhood built in the last 25 years, right? New streets lined with similar homes, all built at assembly line speeds by national home builders. And this neighborhood is that partially. But this block of houses outside of Austin, Texas, is just the start of what will one day be a model of how to deploy sustainable living that's accessible and affordable.
Welcome here to Whisper Valley.
Axel, glad to be here.
Sure.
Looks like you guys are well underway.
Yes, we are. Phase one of 51 more phases to come. 7,700 house units on more than 2,000 acres.
So this isn't just a subdivision, you guys are building a city.
Yeah, it's a city, eventually for about 30,000 residents, yes. I mean, think about not only the houses, think about commercial, retail, school sites. We just opened our first community center with the geothermal heated pool. Wow. So there's a lot of things to come.
I mean, I'm a city dweller. I love having everything easily accessible and nearby. I don't have to drive anywhere. I mean, the fact that you guys are bringing that to the suburban life, really
Actually,
cool.
we call it suburban. It's suburban and urban. It's a mini city where you get all the amenities very close by, yes.
That's awesome. And what really drew me here is the renewable energy, the net zero aspect.
Very important. We call it zero energy capable. So every homeowner in Whisper Valley is empowered to have a very low or zero utility bill. The difference is we created an infrastructure who enables every house to reach that goal.
It's possible that each house could produce as much energy as it consumes.
That's correct. It's all about energy behavior, but yes, with the solar, with the geothermal, all the other technologies, a homeowner can have a zero utility bills.
Awesome. Well, can I see how you guys are doing it?
Yes, I'll show you what. So Ross, this is one of the first homes here, just finished a few weeks ago.
I mean, I'm looking at it. I mean, it looks like a standard house for a development like this, but obviously I see solar. I'm not used to seeing that.
Yes, so 18 panels, that's right, 5 kW, and that solar system, that kind of solar system is on every house here.
So 5 kW will handle your lighting, appliances. I mean, it gets hot here in Texas. Is it going to make much of a dent in your cooling load?
Good question. So if we would use a conventional air conditioner, we would need much more panels, but we do it differently, and I like to show you how.
Okay.
It's this way. So it's all about infrastructure. So as a developer, we are responsible for building roads, streets, water, sewer, electric services. In our case, we thought, what can we do as a developer to provide an energy efficient source for heating, cooling? We call that source geothermal loop field or geogrid.
Okay, so what's a geogrid?
It's very simple. The way this works is we have installed a central pumping station, an entire piping system for each neighborhood in our community, with a single main supply and return line that every house in that neighborhood is tied into.
And those pipes are installed long before the house is even built?
Absolutely correct. This is more cost effective to drill the entire neighborhood all at once, and eventually this entire street will be filled with houses. Each house has a recirculation loop and a pump to call for heating and cooling as it's needed.
I mean, that's the magic of geothermal. The outside temperature can go from over 100 degrees in the summer to below freezing in the winter. But what people don't realize is below our feet, we've got consistent temperature that we can tap into.
Exactly, very correct. And that happens under this green cover. Each house also has its own borehole that goes down about 360 feet, and it is connected to the central loop, which ensures that every building in this neighborhood gets the same level of heating and cooling. In the winter, when there's a demand for heat, the wells actually pull heat from deep below the ground and sends it into the house. And then in reverse, in the summertime, when there's a demand for cooling, the heat is pulled from the house and sent back down under the ground. So Ross, this is the heat pump. Very simple. It's all within the attic. We are here on the top of the house.
Yep.
You see those two pipes, supply and return. This is actually connected with the cover box outside in the backyard of the house. So we supply and we return hot water, we circulate and we take temperature out of the house or bring warmer temperature into the house in the winter.
Got it. So this is connected to the geofield.
Correct.
In the backyard.
Yes.
This is the circulating pump that's going
Exactly.
to run and send flow it through.
Exactly. So you have a thermostat in each house. The thermostat kicks in. It actually starts the circulation pump. Yep. It creates that demand being connected with that loop field. Yep. And that is circulating water through the system so that we can extract temperatures or we can supply temperatures.
So this does the heating and cooling, but it also does the hot water.
Exactly. There are two more connections which will be connected when the family moves in.
Yep.
It's for hot water. Actually, we are taking waste heat out of each space and we dump it in the hot water tank.
That's great. And what I love to see also is that you've done some really nice job insulating
Yes.
the roof rafters.
Spray foam.
So all of your equipment is actually inside the conditioned envelope.
Exactly. That is a very critical point. The entire heat pump unit, the ductwork is within conditioned space. Actually, there is no outside unit at all. No noise pollution. The unit is protected from the environment. So the lifespan of a geothermal unit is about 25 years, so much longer than a conventional air
Yeah,
conditioner.
I love how there's nothing outside. It's nice.
Want to tackle all your home improvement projects with confidence? Join This Old House Insider, a new streaming service from This Old House, the iconic Emmy-winning series that inspired a generation of home enthusiasts. Stream over 1,000 episodes of This Old House and Ask This Old House commercial-free. Watch it all in the This Old House app. And join live online Q&As with our experts. Best of all, you can try Insider free for 7 days. To join, go to thisoldhousemembership.com.
Ross, welcome to one of our model homes.
I mean, this is really nice. Granite countertops, some really nice appliances. I could get used to this.
So this house has 1,700 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathrooms.
Okay, and then price range.
Yeah, so the low 200s to the high 300, maybe $400,000.
And this one?
And this one is exactly $300,000.
And then what's your median price?
In Austin, the median price is about $350,000.
So $50,000 below market rate.
Yes.
For this level of house, new construction.
Yes, and it includes all the energy efficiencies which we were talking about before.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so what I really want to know is how did you get that affordability? How do you get the price so low? Geothermal alone for a house like this could be $20,000 or $30,000.
It's all economy of scale. Installing that infrastructure upfront, purchasing with a scalable purchase power, all those products and installing in a very efficient way. In all that context, we could reduce the price so that we keep energy efficient technology affordable for an average home buyer in America. We are applying that not only on the geothermal side, we are applying it for the solar and for a lot of other features of those homes. An example is our gigabyte fiber internet service, which is available in every house. Why is that possible? Because we provide a fiber connection using the same trenching which we use for the geothermal. So it's all about putting technologies together and scale it up so that a community like Whisper Valley provides all those services. If you really see it from an infrastructure standpoint, this is how you get the cost down so that it is affordable for everybody. If you do it on a house-by-house approach, you don't create scalability. If you do it community-wide, you really create smart cities all over the place. So I believe our concept here in our neighborhood is a great blueprint for other developers in this country so that you have better homes being built in America, community by community.
It's very exciting, Axel. I thank you for the tour, and I wish you all the best in the future phases.
Ross, I thank you for coming.
Pretty cool story. And I gotta admit, I've always been a fan of geothermal heating. It's sort of my favorite alternative energy source. It's only got one flaw, and it's the upfront cost. I mean, they can be huge and unknown.
So a typical house, you're right. I mean, it could be $15,000, $20,000 just to drill here in the Northeast for one house.
And that's not gonna cut it. It's gonna scare people off. It's gonna make it cost prohibitive.
It is, it is. The good thing about his model is that he's doing it at an economies of scale.
Right.
So he's saying, I can do 30 houses or 50 houses at once and share that cost with the homeowner for 20 years.
And when he shares it, is he building it into the price of the house?
So no, so what he's doing is he's charging a small monthly fee to each homeowner, and he's acting as a utility. Basically, instead of selling you gas, I'm gonna be selling you geothermal energy.
Gotcha.
And he locks that in for 20 years.
So that's how he amortizes his cost and makes it sort of affordable for everybody.
For the life of the system.
That's actually a pretty good idea. Ideas that are being used elsewhere around the world?
Yeah, so it's great. District heating is what it's called in Europe. Proven model, right? So you got it in Copenhagen, you have it in Munich,
Right.
even in Reykjavik, Iceland. that area, that city is completely heated with a geothermal district heating system.
Like a municipal geothermal.
That's it. That's it. So he's basically taking that same idea and applying it to Austin, Texas.
That's pretty cool. The other thing that caught my eye was you had mentioned how the houses are fairly cookie cutter. And to me, that's music to my ears, because if they're regular houses and affordable, people are more likely to buy them. If they're, you know, super engineered and a crazy architect has designed this one-of-a-kind house, people aren't going to live in them.
There's nothing custom about these houses.
Right.
So these houses are, he's working with a production home builder.
Oh, really?
So what he's got is cookie cutter, off-the-shelf blueprints, and he's basically taking those and making them as best he possibly can by adding the spray foam, adding the geothermal, LED lighting, and just trying to get the operating costs as low as possible.
Well, which is awesome, which means if he can do it there.
He can do it anywhere.
Awesome.
That's right.
All right. Well, good story. Thanks for bringing it to us. I don't know, Richard, I looked everywhere. I don't see any wrenches in a truck.
That is a wrench.
This is not a wrench. This is a pepper grinder for plumbers.
This is a special wrench made for making the connections around a faucet.
I'll take your word for it.
All right. For plumbers, we've always had this limit. How do you get up into these tight little places underneath a kitchen sink or a lavatory sink? The standard faucet always was mounted to the sink with two shanks like this that had a brass nut that you tightened up underneath here.
Right.
So our best friend has always been this wrench right here called a basin wrench. Has a head with the jaws on the top that you can loosen or spin it over, and you can tighten the nut.
Because the problem was, you know, if you got underneath here, the sink's in the front,
There was no
the walls in the back, you can't spin
There was
this.
no room at all. So this would get right up onto that nut right there, and you'd be able to tighten up perfectly, okay? They make a couple of different sizes. This is a basin wrench you'd use for tight little spaces to make bigger connections, like a drain connection. And they made this for me recently, which has a light.
Never well lit underneath a toilet or a vanity. Well, look at you, you're like a basin wrench collection. You love your basin wrench.
I do. So this type of connection is actually moving away from out of favor, because the faucets have become more homeowner friendly to install. So here's our standard kitchen faucet that we see. If you look on the back side, now you see connections like this, like a plastic wing nut.
Brass has been replaced by these plastic
That's
nuts.
right. So that doesn't work as readily with this basin wrench because you can break the tabs off. So this is pretty interesting. This has got, it's a multi-tool with almost every connection you could need around a faucet. So here's one that would help us to just tighten up those wing nuts, okay? There's every other variation you can see here for making those connections. On the standard old style one, it also works, you see right here.
Oh, interesting. So it does brass and plastic.
Has a nice grip right here so you can make a nice tight connection and not over tighten.
All right, so maybe that thing is useful.
Now there's also some new tools that are available for homeowners for water connections around a faucet. This comes as a combination set right here. So when we're making these connections to the last mile, the connecting to the faucet, you know, there's always a connection like this. You go out and try to find the right open end wrench. You never have the right one.
This is where the homeowner is most likely to do their own plumbing.
That's right.
Near the sink,
That's right.
near the toilet. They're not going to go down in the basement necessarily.
So here's one that is the standard connection, and that fits on perfectly, and tighten that up, doesn't scratch. Here's one for making that connection right here, okay? And this would be for some other miscellaneous nuts.
So if you're near, say, a faucet or a toilet, are there generally just 3 sizes?
3 will handle 95% of it, okay?
Right.
But you're still gonna need a pair of pliers once in a while, but this will help any homeowner.
All right, well, I won't doubt you next time that that's a wrench. No, I will. It doesn't look like a wrench. Now you can watch This Old House and Ask This Old House anytime, anywhere. Download our new app to stream full episodes to your tablet, your TV, and your phone. Binge on classic episodes, catch up on recent renovations, and get step-by-step help projects all around the house. And best of all, it's free. The most trusted home improvement information is now available on your Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, iOS, and Android devices. Download the This Old House streaming app today. Oh, Tommy, I like this look, huh? Got a little bit of that slab look going here.
Yeah, more and more people are loving this. I saw this at a store and I figured I'd grab it to give me some inspiration. But this is a live edge. You can see right here the bark has been removed.
Yeah, and not a single slab. You can tell it's actually been pieced together, but it gives that feel and it's nice and beefy.
Right. But I like the fact that they put some metal legs in it to give her a contemporary feel.
So this is the inspiration for our
This is the
project?
inspiration, but I'd like to build something a little narrower, but taller, like a console table.
Okay.
So I went to my local local mill, and I asked the guy for a couple of pieces. I didn't want a big, wide piece. Number one, it's heavy, hard to move around. But the other reason is over time, they may have a little twist or a warp to them, and it takes a lot of work to take that out.
Right.
So by having a couple of narrow pieces, they were pretty flat, which is good. This is maple, and if you look at it, this was cut from the same tree. You can see how the bark lines up. There's a couple of pieces taken off here. But the interesting thing is, because this is cut in order, when I open it up like a book, you can see the grain is a book match.
So you've got this nub and a mirror image of it right there.
Right.
This sort of Y shape is here, and it's again here. That's the matching.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Something to play with.
A couple of options that I like to think about here is, do I want a book match? Also, how do I want the live edge to be? Do I want the angle up or do I want the angle down?
So we're going to give it 2 straight edges because you want to glue them together. 2 straight edges keep 2 live edges.
Exactly, and we also, cut one, we have to decide on how wide we want the table to be. So it gives us a lot of options by having 2 pieces.
Have you decided?
Well, I've been looking here and there, flipping it around. I like this live edge angle here.
Okay.
Well, let's try it.
Try it that way and this way, like that.
So there's one way right there.
Like that?
Yeah, I kind of think so. So if we take that, hold that a little tighter. Yeah, that might work.
So first step is what?
Let's make a straight edge and then put them together again and see how much we want to cut off the other one.
Get to this one.
Slide that one right under.
Pass this one over there.
Okay. So cut this and put it together and see what we think. All right, what do you think? I think that's a pretty good size.
I agree.
All right, so now we have to attack the live edge. Now, I've found that just by going after it with a chisel and then sanding it afterwards works pretty good.
Yeah, because we want a live edge, but we don't want the bark.
No, if you leave the bark over time when it's in the house, the heat from the house is really going to dry the wood out, and this is going to fall off and be really messy.
There's a pretty definitive line between where the bark stops and the hardwood starts.
Find that sweet spot, and it kind of like separates.
Like picking a scab.
Yeah. I also want to deal with this right here. Looks like they took the chainsaw and cut it off when they cut the tree down. So I think we can cut this and make our own live looking edge right here. All right, we chiseled off the bark, and I think we can clean it up with a grinder, and then after I do that, you can go after it with the sander. I think we'll give it another sand once we get the boards glued together. So that's the next thing we need to do.
It's pretty good right there.
Good.
Okay, Tommy, glue is dried. What do you think?
Joint looks pretty good. It's a little uneven, but we're going to have to really sand the top quite a bit anyway, so we'll make that flush. Next thing I want to do is just cut this off right here and make this even.
All right, Tommy, I know we're going for the rustic look, so I left some of these imperfections here. I'm sure you're okay with that?
Yeah, I am, and I like the fact that it's not absolutely level. We have a little divot here, and I can feel some high spots right here. That's great. Now, the problem is we're going to use these legs right here. These are off-the-shelf metal legs, all right? Now, the height of these legs will all be equal. So if I put the legs on the underside of this table, this is what's going to happen.
This wobbles now. With the legs on, it's going to continue to wobble.
Exactly. I'm going to show you how to fix that. We've taken our top, put it on the table, upside down. On each side of it, we've installed these rails that we've made straight and equal in height. Now, we've also put a couple of shims underneath the top on each end to bring it up as close to the top as we can, because we're going to run our router across the top on our two pieces of guide.
So this will flatten it, right? Because this is perfectly flat and that's perfectly flat.
Right, and we could take the router and go back and forth and take off sections to make the whole thing flat. That's going to take a lot of time, and I don't really care that the underside isn't flat. All right, I only care about the sections where the legs are going to go.
Right.
Like right here. So if I trace where this one's going to go, you want to position that one kind of like eyeball it right there. Looks good. So now I'll just trace this. Trace that one. All right, we have our board into position. Now the next thing I want to do is figure out the depth that I want to set our router. So I'm going to start right here and I'll drop it down till it touches the wood. I'll take it over, see how it is on this one. That's not hitting there, so that's a little lower. I'll go down to that one. We'll check it over here.
Essentially trying to find the lowest spot on this.
Yes. The furthest spot down from the top of our filler. Yep. So we're going to take off, it looks like about 1/8 of an inch. And we'll start right here. Leg will sit right there, and that's sitting nice and flat.
Look at that.
Nice and
Wobble
sturdy.
all.
All right, for our finish, we're going to use a tung oil, but the tung oil won't give the maple any color, and it won't seal it. So what we're going to do is seal it first with an amber color shellac. Our shellac is dried, and now I'm going to take some 320 paper and sand it lightly. Now we'll just wipe on some tung oil.
Oh yeah, Tommy, that is starting to look great. I like the mix between the modern legs and the rustic top, and I think you nailed that finish.
Yeah,
That's
the finish
beautiful.
is nice. I got about 3 coats of tung oil. Going to wait for it to dry overnight, and I'm going to put about 3 or 4 more on tomorrow.
Hey guys.
Watch out, it's wet.
Tom, absolutely beautiful color.
It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
thanks. Thank
Look
you.
at your little bonsai bush
Do
there.
you like that? It's a bonsai tree.
Tree, excuse me. What, you didn't look like you cut anything though.
Hey, a little at a time.
Little is more.
Little is more. Let me write that down.
Yeah, little is more. Remember that, will
Do you mind if I just put this here?
Hey, were you listening to me? It's
Oh,
wet.
sorry, forgot.
Be nice,
Forgot.
would you?
gotta
It's a
watch
beautiful
you guys.
table.
All right, well, I guess we're going out on that. That is the end of another season. So until next season, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Richard Thury.
I'm Tom Silva.
I'm Jen Nawada.
And I'm Roger Cook.
For Ask This Old House.
So someday that bonsai tree will be a little table. Just a little doll table.
Hey, get your fingers away from the table.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.